Hello. So, this has kind of been coming up a little bit recently, and I wanted to touch on it because it's an important topic. Let's talk about trauma and how we can start working through our trauma. And let me clarify trauma to me, what I'm about to talk to you about today, which is, so I believe that we've all gone through some trauma. And really, we come from a society where our parents and our grandparents were traumatized, either in wars or in immigration or in just day-to-day living or hard living or whatever it is. And I don't mean trauma just as in violence either. I mean trauma as in, mental, emotional. So a traumatic situation can be a parent that has a temper issue. It can also be a parent that is completely closed off, closed down, and neglectful. It can be a parent with addiction issues, alcoholism. It can be violence. It can be, all these different things that people go through, right? So sexual, emotional, physical, spiritual abuse, all these different kinds of ways that we can be traumatized. Yay, right? No fun. But let's talk about how we can start working on them, because I really want this. I say this because I really want you to understand that a hard time, any kind of hard time, is traumatizing. Any kind of emotional abuse is traumatizing. So I don't want you to think because you had an angry parent and didn't get beaten that you don't have trauma. And let's talk about some of the side effects of being traumatized, right? And not traumatized, that sounds really weird, but going through a little bit of heartache or trauma or these different kinds of things, let's talk about the patterns that they build up. It all has to do around safety. And believe me, safety is an energy. And unfortunately, most of us carry our non-safe feeling through our whole entire life. And all of a sudden, you are in your house alone and you are having this this physical, mental, emotional reaction to your surroundings when you are completely safe. Because the problem is that if you've gone through some intense trauma, you never feel safe anymore. And so all of a sudden, your body, your mind, your soul doesn't actually know what safe feels like. Because you wake up in the morning, you feel unsafe. You go to work, you feel unsafe. You go to your car in the middle of the night, you feel unsafe, right? So it's all this unsafety, but now we need to integrate it. So again, this is hoping that if you're watching this, that you are in a safe situation. Even if you're not, you can start working through these types of things. But I want to know that, so it's in a safe situation. So someone who grew up in somewhat of a traumatic situation, or just grew up and now feels unsafe as an adult and doesn't understand why they can't change their mindset or try to create the reality or have the life of their dreams, or leave their job, or leave the person that they're not with, or why they're stuck in these patterns. And to me, it's all about learning that the unknown is safe as well, right? Because all of a sudden, when you are going through these things, we put things in place to make us feel like we have control of some situations, right? And one of my clients was just talking about this today, even, is we start preemptively trying to create safety for ourselves. So we start watching things. We're being hyper vigilant about every little piece of our lives just to start to create the safety. But it's all based on somewhat of our traumas, and our patterns in our life are based on what we think about, right? So how do you start working through this? My biggest, greatest thing that I can tell you, and it's not rocket science, is awareness. You have to have an awareness of what your body is reacting to, what the mind chatter is happening in your whole entire life, and everything in between. And so what happens? So what happens if you're at home and you're cutting up an onion, and all of a sudden you start having this anxiety attack, right? This trauma pain around something, right? And you don't know exactly what's triggered it, and you don't know why you feel this way. But you know that you're feeling like agitated, or if all of a sudden you are lashing out at your significant other and you don't know why, right? It says that I've got some comments and I don't see them. Oh, here we go. Hi, there's our comments. People don't realize what it really is to live in it. Yeah, right. So it's this unsafety, Becky. Thank you for saying that. And it can be traumatizing. So the greatest thing is awareness. And now what do you do with the awareness? Because now you have to retrain your mind. You have to retrain your body. So remember that this is a process and you have to be very patient with yourself. So Nice deep breaths. This is the greatest thing. When you start having this reaction, or when you realize I've just lashed out at somebody and I'm not even angry, 3, a minimum of 3 deep breaths. And if you're alone and having some kind of reactions, which I used to do in my house all the time, I used to be alone, totally safe, and like there's no chance of me being in any kind of harm's way. And I used to have these panic attacks, right? And my mind used to just go like, is the door locked? Where's the knives? How would I react if this happened? What if someone tried to attack me? And I lived in a 22nd floor of a 35-story high-rise, and you needed a fob it to get it everywhere. And I knew all of my neighbors, and the doors were locked and the staircase, there was no way that I was in any danger, like in a probable way, which is 50% or more likely, right? So you have to start breathing. So breathe, 3 nice deep breaths. What's going on with me? What am I thinking about? Why am I feeling this way? Right? Those are some of the questions that are going to be some great questions that will literally change your life, because every single time this happens, you can ask these questions. What's going on? What's going on in my head? And like, what's my thought process? So you take 3 deep breaths and you go, okay, what really is this? And so for me, it would be, what's going on in my mind? Okay, so something triggered me to think that someone possibly could break in or whatever. Okay, so what is that? That is my fear of being attacked. Okay, where does that come from? It comes from possibly being attacked in my past, right? And then, okay, so now how do I let that go? If you can take it a step further, how do I start creating safety? How do I start understanding that, no, I'm safe right now? So in this moment, for me, it was no. Like, okay, if you really want to go there, yes, door's locked, knives are in the drawer. Hopefully you don't have to attack somebody back, but really you look around and you just talk to yourself, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm really safe. I'm safe. Or if you lash out at your partner and you don't mean to, and all of a sudden it triggers all this stuff of maybe like this emotional unsafety, right? And all of a sudden now you feel like, oh my God, this person's going to hate me. They're going to leave me. I'm a psycho. I'm a wreck. Like everything is wrong with me. 3 deep breaths. I'm sorry, sweetheart. That's not what meant to happen. For some reason, I'm feeling like this. I'm feeling anxious. I'm just feeling triggered. I don't exactly know what it is yet, but that has nothing to do with you. And just say like, I need to step away if you need to go there. Or, if you have this whole blow up and then later you're in the room upset at yourself, let it go. 3 deep breaths. What's going on with me? What am I thinking about? And what is this really? Right? And so then you can go, okay, for some reason, this triggered me. And I'll give you a great example. I started having this kind of weird little triggery moment in my kitchen one day. And my husband was like, it kind of seems like we were just having this conversation and he said something about forgiving people. And in that moment, and I love forgiveness. Like I have taken forgiveness to such nth degrees, right? But we still have a very hard time forgiving people in our lives because we believe that so adamantly in that people wrong us, even though in this whole entire world, just, it's a systemic issue and we're all one and yada yada. So he said something about forgiveness. Forgiveness triggered me in that moment for some reason because it made me feel like I was wrong about something or like I shouldn't have done something. And it actually brought up so much of some past trauma that was just delved up. And so in that moment, because I've done a lot of the initial work, this initial work of just awareness and breathing through these body reactions that can be really, really uncomfortable. I was able to just be having kind of a half panic attack and just being triggered and like this, and just telling him what was going on with me. Sometimes articulating exactly what's going on and how you're feeling is some of the best ways that you can, is some of the best healing work that you can do. Most of the time, if you're in a partner relationship, a significant relationship, they know everything about you, right? They know what's going on with you. They know your past. They know some of your triggers already. And if it's a newer relationship, well, great. This is a great way to start really getting to know each other and knowing how to work with each other and be with each other. So this has gone on for way longer than I like to. I'm so sorry, but I love you so much for paying attention and tuning in. So nice deep breaths. What's going on with me? Where am I feeling it? Right? So where in my body am I holding this? Is my heart pounding? Are my shoulders coming up to my chest? Is my jaw clenching? Are my fists clenching? Is my butt clenching? We can hold a lot of anger in our butts. And then what's going on in my head? So oftentimes with trauma, if you have significant trauma and mild or severe PTSD, you start getting those flashbacks. Right? You start seeing that knife come at you. You start seeing that person attack you. You start remembering how you felt after you woke up after being assaulted. These flashbacks start to happen in your mind. So what's going on with my mind? Okay, this is this trauma. This is this trauma. I need to breathe through it and try and release it, get back to me and my body feeling safe. And what's going on with me mentally, emotionally? What triggered this and how do I feel about it? It often comes down to very core basic belief systems that were often set up before the trauma or during the trauma in early childhood. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not worth anything. I'm not deserving. These different really core beliefs that we've got. And then you can start going, okay, I am worthy. I am more than enough. I am loved. I deserve a beautiful life. I deserve, great, this, that, and the other, because these other things that roll into it is I'm going to be homeless. I'm going to ruin my life. I'm going to, everything's going to fall apart. I'm going to have nobody, all these weird different moments that, it's so, there's many layers to this onion, but the starting point is awareness. Breathing 3 breaths to calm this body down. And then ask yourself those 3 questions. What's going on with me? Where do I feel this in my body? What's going on in my head? And what's that core belief system that is attached to? And this is how you start. This is just how you start. There's so many different layers to this, but I really wanted to bring it up because it's been coming up a lot for people these days. And I wanted to acknowledge you, send you some love, tell you that there's lots of opportunity to heal this individually and as a whole and in the family. And believe me, when you start healing some of this, your whole family will start healing. And it's a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for all the love. Lots and lots of love to you. If you have any questions ever, or you want to know more about this, or you want me to do a video on a certain topic around this, please reach out. I'm here. And you can, get in touch with me also on my site, katschulte.com, KATSCHULTE.com. So lots of love to you, lots of life for you. Mwah!